No matter who you are, you will have haters. John 15 verse 18 says, if the world hates you, know that it hated Jesus first. So if you have haters, know that God is greater than your haters. Lately you've been feeling the weight of your haters coming at you with their envy and their hate, scheming against you, throwing mud on your name. But God's gonna work it out despite their lies and game. God is greater, so much greater than your haters. God is greater, don't give up, it'll pay off later. God is greater, through the pain you're a giant slayer. Stop automatically believing because you are reaching for a new dream, or you are starting a business or launching a ministry, that your friends and family are going to get behind it and support you. Because people who want to see you win, they actually help you win. But everybody's not going to help you win. And the sooner that you really get this, the sooner that you can free up your focus and your energy for the things that are going to help you grow your goal and grow your dream. That's what we're talking about today. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share if you find value here. Before we get into today's topic, I want to tell you about the awesome inspirational mug that I'm drinking out of. It is the Entrepreneur's Affirmation mug, and it is a mug for anyone that has an entrepreneurial calling on their life, anyone with a goal or a dream, and the mug will definitely motivate you to keep on keeping on. If you have any of our inspirational mugs, hoodies, t-shirts, any of my books, which one do you have and how has it benefited you? Please let me know in the comments section. So we're talking about how you can't always expect people to get behind what you're doing just because it's exciting to you and you've put your whole heart in it. And the reality is, when people want to see you win, they actually help you win. So if you don't see the action of helping you win, then that's what it is. And the sooner you can be totally honest with yourself, the sooner you can move on to bigger and better things, and you can leave that behind. So this came up because I had a coaching client who was devastated. She bakes occasional cakes, right? And these are beautiful cakes specifically for birthday showers and all kind of different occasions, right? And she's known in her community, and people love her cakes. And so she naturally thought that when her cousin was having a birthday party, a 40th birthday party, that she would use her services. And so what she decided to do is she was going to gift her cousin a cake. And this is a cake that could cost upwards of $250 to $300. She was going to gift her an occasional cake with all of the trinkets and all kind of stuff on the cake. And she was going to gift her a cupcake display. So you're talking, this is a lot of money. She was going to gift this to her. And remember, the feedback about the cakes are she's pretty known in her community, and the feedback is very positive. The cakes and cupcakes are delicious. And so the only thing is that when she, bakes her products, she has her company name and company cards around it. And I don't see that as a big deal. If you are gifting someone something that's over $250, probably about maybe $400 when you add the cupcake display. So she was gifting this to her, and the cousin told her that she didn't want it, that she was going to go with somebody else. And she actually went with a competitor, right, the cousin. And the cousin doesn't even know this person, and their cakes are not known for being any better. And she ended up spending an upwards of maybe about $300 when she would have got something for $400, and she would have got more bang for her buck. She would have got the cake in addition to the cupcake display, and I think she was going to do some other things, right? So she just didn't want to utilize her services. That's what it comes down to, because she did not want to help her win. She did not want other people to be like, wow, these cupcakes are good. Who made them? And remember, she would have had her she would have had her marketing stuff on the cake box and on the cupcake holders, so you could find that out. So she didn't want to see her move forward. And my client was really devastated about this as we were talking about this. This wasn't the focus of the coaching session, but she was just very surprised at how the people who are closest to her will not share her stuff, will not support in any way, yet they claim, oh, cuz I see you doing your thing, you know I got you. So that's what they say with their words, but their actions bear no fruit. And so I want to talk about how when people who want to see you win, right, when they want to see you win, when they say that, right, they actually help you win. And I'm going to give you some concrete ways that you would see that costs no money. So it's not even an issue of money, right? So let's go to that. But before we do, I want to give you some scriptures. Ephesians 5 verse 6 says, let no one deceive you with empty words. For because of these things comes the wrath of God upon the children of disobedience. And I want to focus on the first part of the scripture. Let no one deceive you with empty words. So as believers, right, this is Ephesians chapter 5 verse 6. As believers, it is our responsibility, meaning it is incumbent upon you and me to let no one deceive us with empty words. It starts out with let no one. So either we're permitting people to deceive us or we don't permit people. But it is important that we don't let people run game on us. As naive, as believers, we're not supposed to be naive. And so when a person is saying, oh, I got your back, you know I always support you, but it's empty words, you don't see any evidence, then you cannot be deceived by that, because that is fake love. They're not showing you love. You cannot be deceived by that. Now, this doesn't mean that you need to be nasty. It doesn't mean that you need to have a knockout, drag out confrontation. Everything doesn't merit that. Sometimes you can just recognize it is what it is. And because this is what it is, I need to move accordingly. I don't need to have a knockout, drag out confrontation about why this person doesn't want to do this. That is their choice. It is their life. I just need to recognize that and move accordingly. Move accordingly. So in hindsight, what would have been better, because there were signs as we, delved into the conversation, there were signs already that the cousin wasn't supporting her. So it would have been better for her to not even make the offer to do that. If she decided to go at all, to not even make the offer to bake the cake and to bake the cupcakes, to not even make the offer, because you're sowing into a fruitless space. And we are supposed to reap what we sow. The Bible talks about, we, as a man soweth, so shall he reap, meaning mankind. And so there's an expectation of a harvest when you are sowing into something, whether you're sowing into a relationship, a goal, or a dream, right? You don't go to college and not expect a degree. So when you go to college, right, you're sowing your time by way of study, by way of the classes you're taking, by way of the papers you're writing. You're sowing your time, energy, effort, and focus with the expectation of the harvest of the college degree. So there is an expectation. You don't go to college for 4 years and don't expect no degree. Don't expect to graduate. There's an expectation of a harvest. And so similarly in our relationships are reciprocal, not transactional, but reciprocal. And you are supposed to receive as you are giving. This is why the Bible says, as iron sharpens iron, a man should sharpen the countenance of his friend. So you see that there is a iron sharpening another iron blade. They are both sharpening one another. It is not only one iron blade sharpening the other while the other does nothing. That's Proverbs 27:17, as iron sharpens iron, right? And so the New International Version says, as iron sharpens iron, so one person sharpens another. So it doesn't get any plainer than that. So if you were the only one sharpening somebody else by way of encouraging them, by way of showing them support in very specific ways, which we're going to go through in a moment, and you're not receiving that, you are not around an iron sharpener. These are biblical principles. And so don't let people deceive you and play in your face. And you don't have to be nasty. You don't need to hold no hostility in your heart. You don't need to hold an ounce of resentment. The quickest way to let things go is to tell yourself the brutal absolute truth that this is what it is, regardless of what I wanted it to be. And because I now know what it is, I need to move accordingly. That will free you from any resentment, being mad that people don't do you and come through the way that you want. When you recognize, you get one time, you recognize that this is what it is, then that's what it is. You go on about your business. She should have never made the offer for the cake. So I want to give you a story where Jesus curses a fig tree. And this is going to make sense in terms of understanding that when something has the appearance of fruit, but there's no fruit in it, it has no benefit. It can't feed you. And when you have a friend who you went to high school, college, you knew from the block, or a family member where there's the appearance of fruit, meaning there might be the appearance of support, the appearance of love, but can you really count on that person? Sometimes you just got to be brutally honest and say the nature of our relationship is, although this is my cousin, although this is my uncle, although this is my aunt, the nature of the relationship is we haven't spoken in years. We see each other twice a year at family gatherings, and when we do see each other, the conversation is, hey, cuz you're looking good, how's the kids? And that's really the gist of our relationship. That's the gist of the relationship. When I call them, it takes 5 days for them to call me back, if they even call me back. So if that is the nature of the relationship, stop calling. There's no fruit there. And it doesn't mean you hold hostility. When you see them, it's love. It's love. When you see them, it's family love. The nature of our relationship is our kids play together. The nature of our relationship is we see each other 3 times a year, and the kids have a good time eating hot dogs, hamburgers, whatever they eat when they get together with the whole family, seeing their cousins. We share a moment in time and we leave it there. That's what it is. So if my expectations are rooted in the reality of the fruit of that relationship, then I understand that that's what it is, if I even choose to go, right? And if you don't choose to go, you're not going from a place of anger. You're not going, you're choosing not to go is a better way of saying it. You're choosing not to go because you're focused on whatever your priorities are. And it doesn't matter what their priorities are. So they may say, oh, I want the whole family around and this would be great. But if that's not your priority based on the fruit of that relationship, you don't owe it to them. And so when you are clear about that, right, that your priorities are your goal, your dream, whatever your priorities are in this season of your life, then that frees you from having any resentment, any hostility. When you see them, there's no hard feelings. It's all love. It is what it is. So let's look at some specific ways that people who want to see you win will help you win that don't cost a dime. Number 1, they will share resources with you. So a person who wants to see you win, they will share resources with you. They're going to pass along some things that they think would be helpful because they know what it is you do. Number 2, they're going to show you how to do something. Or if they don't have the time, they're going to direct you to a video, a link, a website that shows you how to do it. So maybe you want to start your own podcast, but you're not technologically savvy. And they have a podcast, let's say. So they're going to show you how to do that. But if they don't have the time, they may not have the time, right? Because people are busy when they're pursuing their goals and their dreams. So if they can't show you how to do it simply because they don't have the time, they'll direct you to a video or website that shows you how to do it. Or if they built their website on their own, then they might not have that time to sit with you, but they will definitely not mind sharing a link. Oh, you can, go to Squarespace, go to this particular place, and they'll send you the link, and then you have to take the time to learn about it, but they'll at least share some sort of link with you. So they're going to show you how to do something or direct you to a video, a website, or resource that gives you the information you need if you don't even know where to start. Number 3, they're going to share your content and talents with others. And so if you will go back to the person who makes the cakes, and she has different platforms where she's showing pictures of the different things that she bakes. And so her friends and family can see this. And so if nobody ever says, hey, my cousin makes birthday cakes, if ever you're looking for a birthday cake, she's the person you need to reach out to, they're not interested. So they would share your content and talent with others. It costs nothing for them to share your content on their social media platforms. It costs them nothing to share your talents with others. So maybe you paint houses, and this is how you're earning an additional income. You paint houses, you do handyman work, and there's somebody looking for someone to paint their house, and they won't even bring up your name in the room. Oh yeah, my cousin so-and-so paints houses. You need to call him. Here's his number. Here's his information, and see what you can work out with him. They can't pass that information along knowing that you do handyman services. They don't want to see you win. They're not concerned. And the quicker that you can recognize that, you don't keep, it's like fishing in the bathtub. Nobody in their right mind fishes in the bathtub because you know that there are no fish there. And so you don't want to keep going to a place expecting something and keep being disappointed over and over and over again. At some point, you got to recognize this is what it is. Why am I wasting my time? Number 4, people who want to see you win, they will bring up your name in rooms. This is a big one that you have yet to walk in. They will bring up your name in rooms that you have yet to walk in. So let's say that you develop curriculums, you write proposals, and they are in rooms with people who can use curriculum development and proposal writing services, and they never bring up your name, and they have access to those people. They're not interested in helping you. And so when it's clear that they have no interest in helping you, regardless of how much they say, oh, I love you so much, that's not love. Now, you don't have to be a person who's resentful. You just have to face reality and be like, there's no fruit here, right? The Bible says you will know them by their fruits. Do men gather grapes from thorn bushes and figs from thistles? And so when you try to gather a grape from a thorn bush, you can't eat, because a thorn bush can only produce thorns, and a thistle can only produce other thistles. They can't produce figs. And so some of you keep complaining because you keep looking for grapes when it's clear that that friend or that family member has thorn bushy ways. And so you got to recognize that this is what it is. I'm not going to be fed here. I'm not going to be emotionally or mentally fed here. And it is futile for me to look to be fed here, even if I fed them. It is going to be futile for me to be fed here. And at some point, I got to stop feeding them. That's not being petty. That is being very, very clear that there's no sharpening here for me. Because the Bible says, as iron sharpens iron, a person sharpens one another. So if you keep sharpening someone by pouring into them and you're not being sharpened, it's actually going to dull your blade. And this is why you will become resentful, because you keep pouring into something where there is no harvest. That's the quickest way to trigger resentment. But once you completely let it go and you put it in your mind, oh, the context of our relationship, even though we're related by blood, is we're cousins who see each other 3 times a year. And when we do see each other, the nature might be we don't talk more than 5 minutes. Hey, you look great. You look beautiful. Like your pocketbook, like your hair, whatever y'all say to one another. And that's really the nature. How's so-and-so? How's so-and-so? But beyond that, there's no real relationship. And I think that people are scared oftentimes to be this honest. But the freedom, see, the truth sets you free. The freedom in being so honest with yourself that there's no wiggle room to lie, to live under a masquerade or a mask, is that it frees you up emotionally and mentally to direct your emotional labor, your emotional energy, your focus, your effort, and your time into things that bear fruit. And you know, I got to let this go completely because there's no fruit here. Now, letting it go completely doesn't mean being confrontational. It doesn't mean being nasty. It doesn't even mean calling them out. Even in call out culture, you ain't got to always call somebody out. You can simply say, I got too much to do, too many goals to achieve, too many dreams to pursue, to waste my time calling out someone who shows no interest in wanting a real relationship with me and wanting to support what I'm trying to build, even if I've supported them. I need to completely let them go in my heart. And when you let somebody go in your heart, it doesn't mean you harbor hatred. When you see them, you really could give them a quick kiss on the cheek. Give them a quick hello, because the expectation is we don't have that type of relationship, right? So think about a neighbor that you see. This is a good way to put it. Think about a neighbor that you see. And when you see one another, you're friendly enough. Hey, how are you? Have a great day. But you don't really expect this person to do certain things for you. So because the expectation is we say hi and bye. If we see each other in the coffee shop, we may chat for a few minutes, and it's all positive. There's no negative energy whatsoever, right? If they needed a cup of sugar, I would give them a cup of sugar. If they needed an egg, I would give them an egg, and vice versa. But beyond that, that is the context of the relationship. I'm not expecting them to support me in my business. I'm not expecting them to support me in my goals and my dreams. I'm not expecting them to stay on the phone with me and us to brainstorm ideas. But at the same time, they can't expect that of me. So because there are clear boundaries and perimeters around the relationship, there is no resentment, and it's all positive because your expectation is rooted in the reality of that relationship. And so similarly speaking, even if someone is related to you, but they don't show you the fruit of care, concern, support, and wanting to really be part of your world, then at some point, you got to be honest with yourself and say, this is what it is. So that's another thing, right? Number 4, I think we did number 3, right? They will bring up your names in rooms that you have yet to walk in. So we left off at 4. 5, they will introduce you to people who might be a good fit for your business, your service, or your talent. So if they know someone who will be a good fit for you, a lot of times people may not even want to introduce the two of you. And this is a big thing, because if you have a friend or family member who wants to be the shiniest object in the room, who wants to be the person who is most in the know, the person who is looked up to within the family, right? Or within the friendship circle, and here you come, right? And you might upstage them, they're not going to make that introduction. And so when you expect it, and this is one of the things that will frustrate you when you have a family member who's like, oh yeah, I'm going to put in a call for so-and-so, well, they'll promise you that they're going to help, but there's no follow through. You have to look at the fruit and not at the words. 6, they will take the time to brainstorm ideas with you for your business, service, or talent. So when a person really wants to see you win, that's another way that they can help you win that costs nothing. 20 minutes brainstorming. And you can do the same for them. It may not be a business. It may be another goal that they want to achieve. And you are, well, let's brainstorm. Here are some ideas. So they'll take some time and brainstorm. That's free. These are all free things. And last but not least, number 7, they will show up for your winning moments. They will show up for your winning moments. And so if you are having a grand opening for your business, and you have friends and family who make excuses as to why they can't be there, right? They don't want to be there. They don't want to be there. It's not a priority for them. Get in the habit of saying to yourself, it's not a priority for them, because that's going to keep your expectations rooted in the reality of their demonstrated fruit. So if they don't show up for your winning moments, right, it is because they don't want to be there. It's not a priority. For whatever reason. You don't got to go so deep, but they don't want to see me win. They're haters. None of that matters in the grand scheme of things, because the moment you know that there's no fruit there, that's reason alone to keep it moving. That's reason alone. We want to get to the point as believers where as soon as we go somewhere and we're not met with open arms, that we shake the dust off our feet. We ain't got to psychoanalyze everything to the last detail. I don't need to know why you don't like me. I just need to know you don't like me. I don't need to know why you never show up for me. I just need to know you don't show up for me. Cool. Let me keep on going about my business, since I can't count on you for that. So the clearer that you are about that, it really helps you not to waste a lot of time, because time is a resource that comes in limited supply. And when you are on an entrepreneurial journey, when you are growing your ministry, when you are building your social media platform, whatever it is you're doing, you don't have a lot of time to be wondering why this person won't do this person won't do that. When you see they won't do it for whatever reason, keep it moving. Shake the dust off your feet. But remember, support goes both ways. So it also means that you need to pull back. You need to pull back from doing the most. You need to stop being the go-to person for people you can never go to. Stop. And when you stop being the go-to person for people you can never go to, what begins to happen is you will let go of every bit of hostility because there's nothing to be hostile about. You will let go of every bit of resentment, and you can actually be happy and joyful when you see these people, because you are not harboring, I did so much for you and you did nothing for me. No, you're not harboring that, because you're not doing it anymore. You've totally let it go in your heart. And you're like, it is what it is. We see each other 3 times a year. We make a little small talk. We sit down and have a hot dog for 2 seconds. And that's the context of our relationship if I choose to go. So I want to bring you to when Jesus curses the fig tree. And this is Mark 11. We're going to start at verse 12. And I'm in the 11th chapter. And it says, the next day, as they were leaving Bethany, Jesus was hungry. Seeing in the distance a fig tree in leaf, he went to find out if it had any fruit. When he reached it, he found nothing but leaves, because it was not the season for figs. Then he said to the tree, may no one ever eat from you again. And his disciples heard him say it. So that was Mark 11, verses 12 through 14. Now look how powerful this is. Jesus is hungry, so he's teaching a lesson. He's modeling a lesson in front of his disciples, right? His disciples heard him say it. So he wanted his disciples to see this and hear this, because he was teaching them an important lesson. He was hungry. And so he saw a fig tree in leaf, right? So it had the appearance of fruit. But look what he did. He went to find out if it had any fruit. And that's the problem with a lot of us. We don't go to find out if a person has any fruit. We don't go to find out. We just assume, because we are giving the fruit of care, concern, consideration, support. I'm the go-to person. We assume because we possess these qualities that the people we call family and friends are bearing the same fruit. But see, Jesus went to find out if it had any fruit. You got to find out. You got to test people's spirit. And when you see that they don't have any fruit to be able to sharpen you, but you have the fruit to keep sharpening them, at some point, you got to stop letting people eat from your tree. And you got to stop looking for food and to be fed from a tree that has no fruit. So he went to find out if it had any fruit. So he's teaching his disciples an important lesson. And when he reached it, he found nothing but leaves, because it was not the season. And sometimes you got to realize, you know what? It's not the season for this relationship to be what I want it to be. It's not the season for this friendship. We were close at one time. We were close when we were 5. But it's not the season no more now that we're in our 30s, our 40s, our 50s. It's not the season. Sometimes people come into your life for a reason, a season, according to Maya Angelou, a reason, season, or lifetime. And most relationships, the majority are going to be reasonable relationships and seasonal. Very few are going to be lifetime. And so sometimes you got to realize this relationship is not in season anymore. I got to let it go. And let it go doesn't mean a confrontation. It doesn't mean telling a person a laundry list of all the faults that you believe they have and all the things that you don't like about them and all the ways you feel they don't support you. At some point, we got to grow up, and that's not necessary. At some point, when you're truly letting, look at Jesus. When he reached it, he found nothing but leaves, because it was not the season for figs. And he says to the tree, may no one ever eat from you again. That's it. I ain't eating here. No long drawn out conversations. And sometimes we got to get to the point where we're like, I see that there's no fruit. I see that they refuse to share my stuff. I see that they refuse to celebrate my wins. I see that even if I send them something, it stays unread. I see, and you can fill in the blanks. So I got to respect the fruit that they are showing me, and I have got to let that relationship live in its proper lane. And if the lane is that we see each other 3 times a year and make small talk when we do, Even when they say the words, love you cuz, I know that that those words really don't have any fruit and meaning. It's just a thing that people say. Right? How many people say love you? And you really don't see the fruit of love. Can we be that real? And so sometimes you got to be honest with yourself and say, okay, they may say those words, but I have to know for myself that there's no fruit in these words. Can I really count on them in a crisis? Can I really count on them in the crisis? And if I know I can't, then I need to allow that relationship to be what it is. Because here's the thing, people who want to see you win, they help you win. And it really is that simple, regardless of what they say. And when you come to that realization with no hostility, no resentment, no anger, simply letting people be who they are, watching for people's fruit and moving accordingly, you will never hold resentment in your heart, because you will shake the dust off your feet so fast, it's no time for the anger to build up. You done gone on to the next goal, the next dream, the next thing you're doing, because you got too much to do for the kingdom. So I hope that this found you helpful if you're in a situation like my coaching client was in, to really recognize that if you don't see these things happening with people who say that they want to see you win, that the reality is that they're not invested in you winning. And you have to do what you need to win. You got to have your own back, regardless of who's cheering for you and who's not cheering for you. Learn to cheer for yourself and know that God wants to see you win. And he will supply all of your needs according to his riches and glory in Christ Jesus. So you be blessed, keep your head up, and keep moving forward towards your goals and your dreams. You got this, because God's got you. Take care.